The journey of an entrepreneur is not an easy one. In this segment, we learn how some of life's toughest moments can inspire some really great outcomes. Meet Zach Horvath, the founder of Live a Great Story.
There's been a few times where, Live a Great Story has been growing, but it gets really hard. Like the entrepreneurial journey, it's always ups and downs. It's the roller coaster, right? We're always struggling, moving forward, doubting ourselves, and it's really difficult as entrepreneurs to keep that going. And so the cool thing about Live a Great Story is that oftentimes when, it's at the lowest point, or at least a low, the brand does what it does for other people, for me. So it's really inspiring when, I'm like, is this the right move? I'm getting overwhelmed, really struggling with how to grow, how to make an impact, all these different obstacles that are happening in the brand. That's usually when we get the most empowerment from our community. So we get amazing stories, people reaching out with just like, awesome, this is why I love what you're doing, and this is my story, and this is why you made an impact. And it really helps when, we're in the depths and it's trudging along, and, it's really hard, and you doubt, and all the self-doubt and everything, that the brand inspires me to keep going, to keep pushing forward, to keep making an impact. I'm Zach Horvath, and I'm the founder of Live a Great Story. The very first traces of Live a Great Story, when I got back from Europe, I touched back onto the original clothing company that I started when I was 16. And so I designed these two shirts kind of just as a step to transfer back into the US. And those tags actually have Live a Great Story on them. So that's like the very first traces of where Live a Great Story, like the phrase, actually came from. And so to promote those two shirts and kind of just general marketing for those shirts, I ended up going around Austin and leaving 3 pretty major reminders around the city. So one of them said, if your life was a book, would anybody read it? It was like a big, pretty much like 20-foot cursive script underneath one of the main thoroughways in Austin. Another one said, do you have campfire stories? And then one of them said, Live a Great Story. And ended up, a couple months later, someone tagged me in a picture of it, and someone had hashtag Live a Great Story. So I clicked on the hashtag, and there were tons of pictures of this one pillar with the Live a Great Story on it. And it was cool, and I didn't think much of it. So from there, that evolved into kind of a square design. So the original Live a Great Story was actually square, and that, we just call them reminders. So those reminders went up all around the city. I was working at this bar till like late in the night, 2 or 3 a.m. And then after I'd get off, I would go out and put these reminders all over the city and just kind of leave them in spots for people to find, or just kind of as inspiration, not only to myself but for other people. And so people started taking pictures of them and having these really emotional reactions and sharing that on Instagram. So I would scroll through the Live a Great Story hashtag on Instagram, and there would be like all these like really heartfelt emotional responses, ranging from my father just passed away, and I saw this like the day after, and it like really reminded me of this and that, or I saw this and it really has inspired me to continue my passion for photography or art or business or music. And so people were leaving these really awesome notes to themselves and to their communities through the Live a Great Story. And from there it evolved into a circle, more responses. The circle was a little bit better. But they were left in strategic spots around the city where people could see them and not expect to see them, but they would see them and it would stand out. And so various people would always say like, oh, I see this one on the entrance to the 805, or I saw this one at that one abandoned building on El Cajon or downtown, or and people would it would come back around. The circle would complete itself through just people seeing the street art, but then they would see like the stickers and the buttons. And so it really evolved into like this like simple message, where just stickers, people would ask about it. We'd pass out stickers, pass out buttons. Those buttons would get passed out to other people. People would take them off and keep passing them out. And then one day I was sitting on my couch with a friend of mine, and he was like, hey man, like, I think you're onto something here. I think you're like, you're onto something. You should keep going with this. And that was kind of the first time that I was like, okay, this is something. There's definitely energy in here. I got to keep going at this. And that's when I decided that I didn't want to get a job. I didn't want to transition out. I wanted to keep building Live a Great Story. So I stopped looking for other jobs. I kept working at the bar and just kind of double teamed this. I would work all day at a coffee shop trying to figure out what this brand could be, how we could use it to build a community, how we can make an impact with it. What does it mean more than just stickers and buttons? But then I go to the bar all night, work through the night, go out, and it was just this cycle of coffee shopping all day, trying to build this brand and this idea. It just really evolved. So people started taking the stickers places, people started submitting the pictures, tagging them, and that happened very organically. So from the beginning of what Live a Great Story looked like in the very beginning to where it is now, it really just flowed pretty smoothly through our community, and we really just listened to what people were doing and what they liked and what their thoughts were, and that's kind of how it evolved out. So it was cool to start seeing pictures pop up from Machu Picchu, or all over the States, or Australia, all these like random places. People were starting to take these stickers. And so it was really awesome to see it kind of start spreading across the world. And the really cool part was that when people started seeing the Instagram captions, that was the very foundation of it, and seeing people sharing such heartfelt responses to the brand, but not to the brand, but to the message. And that's where it started. That's where we continue to go. We really just want to inspire people, and to inspire them on their journey. So we all have different stories, we all come from different backgrounds, and really we want people to just internalize that idea that their story matters. We really want them to embody their own story, because when people live their story and are passionate and are moving forward for whatever that means for them, and that allows them to move forward and inspire their community, and then it kind of ripples out from there. So it was cool to see the stickers start spreading, but really, the fact that people spread it for themselves and wanted to do it for themselves was cooler than seeing it in front of the Berlin Wall or these different places. It was the fact that they wanted to do it because it meant something to them. Hey, I'm Zach Horvath, founder of Live a Great Story, and you're watching the Block TV.
To learn more about Live a Great Story, you can visit them on their website at liveagreatstory.com.